Welcome to Venus Transmissions. I'm Sat Avtar. I had a client ask me to do a video about how we can help narcissists, how we can help them heal, how we can help people that are, disconnected heal. And like I say in so many videos, there's a very focused answer on this and then a lot of variables to it. So the way we can help narcissists heal and people heal that are clearly in pain is actually working on ourselves and healing ourselves. Because the truth is, there are very few people on the planet who are completely healed. We're going through levels of consciousness, healing those levels. It's a journey. Again, it's not a destination. And there's none of us that can overlook our own situations and our own healing to force others to heal. Because one, it never works. We're taught that in Kundalini Yoga. You don't try and force your wisdom or your teaching or healing on anyone. Because it's truthfully, people heal themselves. And the ego is a very tricky thing that it will just resist anything anyway if you try and push people before they're ready. So this wanting to heal narcissists is actually a huge ego trap because it takes away your focus from yourself and it puts it on someone else, and your life will never heal when you're stuck in that pattern. The only place of power that you have is within yourself. And here's a way to describe this a little deeper from a spiritual perspective so that maybe it can make more sense from an energetic viewpoint. There are people who have done enough work who don't tend to change their behavior towards different people and different behaviors, meaning that in life they act, they don't react. They've healed enough trauma, they're embodied enough where they're really fully present in themselves. Their self-source, their connection to their spirit is very strong. So they are just themselves with people and in every moment. They're communicating the energy of their soul instead of basing their behaviors off what's outside of them. Whereas when we have a lot of trauma, we tend to act differently around different people. Or we just maybe haven't learned, how codependent we might be. Again, largely we've grown up in a world that is very codependent. I'm basing my happiness on what's outside. From the yogic perspective as well, we're like, neutrality is the yogi's gift. Not being swayed to the negative or to the positive by anything. That's what we try to look towards to achieve. Now, it doesn't mean you don't have boundaries. It doesn't mean you don't communicate your needs. It just means that your happiness is always in a flow and it's self-generative. So when you have trauma and you're disconnected in a lot of ways, you tend to play off other people more because subconsciously, a lot of times you're thinking, how can I make this person happy? How can I change my outside circumstances to make me happy? So you're on a really subconscious level manipulating your behavior to get results from the outside. So you change who you are. And it's not even necessarily a conscious thing. And when you have a lot of those traumas and they're getting in the way of you expressing your authenticity, your energy, your truth, that's what changes the behavior. That's what makes it really difficult to be an authentic person because your brain's functioning in a certain way. You might be in flight or fight mode more often. The empathy centers of the brain are, firing up as much, and these have been tested. So when you've done the healing work and you've taken that time, and it can take time, you're acting out of your integrity, your truth, and you're consistent rather than, changing who you are. That's why, we find that some people can be completely different people with varied people. Let's say we're different with our family than our friends. Well, why? Why? Because we're afraid. We're afraid of the judgments of our family. We're afraid of the judgments of our friends, rather than being like, this is who I am. Take it or leave it. And as you mature and you cultivate that neutrality and that connection with your spirit, you begin to see that you're always authentically you. And you're not trying to make somebody else happy or change someone else. You're just really focused on you. And that's when things change. And on the greater, macro level of this, energetically, if you, deduce it down to consciousness, we're all still, as humans, like a hive in a way. We're all connected through energy. And, you just look back in history. How different was spiritual tradition in this country, in the US or around the world 50 or 100 years ago? What are the massive changes that we've seen that are a result of shifts in consciousness and awakenings? So as we see these issues come to light, we're being given the opportunity to put the focus on ourselves, because once we shift our beliefs and the energy within us, the outside world shifts. People will leave that aren't at that point of resonating with us. New things will come in, and we'll see the relationships in our life change, grow, expand. And I can absolutely say, in my life, friends' lives, clients' lives, they see these, kind of miraculous shifts with the people around them. And I mean, I've, especially recently, people I've been really close to, like in my family, it's just amazing to see the changes in awareness, the openness that they have now. And for me, after doing a lot of work over the years and really stepping into being authentic with them as myself and allowing them to be themselves as well, it is so powerful to focus on yourself. You cannot force anyone to change. And consciousness is tricky. Consciousness that is, blinded by trauma and doesn't understand, sometimes we need those hard things to happen. We need those lessons. We need to lose things to really feel their value sometimes. And people have to go through those. You can't go through anyone else's difficult times for them. And your state of being has so much of an effect on your outside world and the people around you, so much more than you realize. So a lot of times when we get stuck in fights with people or we want situations to change, we put tension in that change. We don't even realize it, but in our head, there's an underlying thought, belief of, I want this to be different. You're trying to force change. You're putting energy of not being in harmony. And all that does is augment the disharmony. But you can go inward and start to reach a place of harmony within, emotional stability within, authenticity within, that is not so changed by outside circumstances. And that almost miraculously can change what's happening on the outside, because you're no longer feeding it. We're just trained to constantly see the outside as the problem instead of looking to the inside and working with our emotions from a really empowered state. The best thing that you can do when you're in a toxic relationship or situation, family, friends, is walk away and state your boundaries, because there's truly nothing that you can get from someone else or the outside that you cannot give to yourself. There isn't. And you are doing the most empowering thing when you state your boundaries and your strength, because you're teaching someone else how you want to be treated, how you deserve to be treated. And it's hard when it comes down to those closest to us that we have to draw those lines with. Like there are those particular phrases that are used when we're being gaslighted or manipulated. And it's like, oh, you're too sensitive. I had a family member say this to me a few months ago, or earlier in the year. And it was in a situation where I was upset. And to me, what that displays to me is a time to really step back, state my boundaries, and focus on the relationships for the people that actually care about me when I'm upset, especially when that is a result of someone else's manipulative behavior. It's not caring, it's not kind. So I pull back from that situation, because if nobody's listening to me verbally, the only thing they're going to respond to is my behavior. And if they step up and show love, great. If they don't, great. I'm free to go be me and go spend my energy on cultivating relationships that make me feel whole and safe. All of these are beautiful lessons. What's happening right now on the planet with all of our relationships, there's a sutra that says about these times and this shift in consciousness, understand through compassion or you will misunderstand the times. So yes, have compassion for yourself and for the people in the situations where you feel like you're not getting what you want from them and you're sad because they're not, experiencing love and they're clearly in turmoil. Have compassion. Everybody is moving at their own pace. And the more you can cultivate compassion and forgiveness and focus on yourself, the more you will see the miraculous and magical results beyond what you could have anticipated. Release the need for things to look a certain way or be a certain way, and allow. I have a free 5-day voice embodiment course on venustransmissions.com, mixing yogic technique, history, and vocal technique, tuning into the energy, the power that we need in our relationships, in our life, to create our life, to manifest our life, to open up the voice. Our voice is magic. It's a magic potion. It's really filled with power, and we so often don't use it. We have disconnects between our hearts and how we want to communicate our authenticity, energetic disconnections in all the chakras, being grounded. So this is like a mini course to get you to open up so you can speak your truth and be more authentic. aquarianyogi.net for my online yoga studio. And Venus Transmissions also has a full voice alchemy course, which is a much more in-depth voice opening, connecting the third chakra, the solar plexus, to the throat. And then readings, and you can work with me privately and see some feedback from my other clients. I look forward to connecting more with you, and I hope that this video has empowered you to love yourself more, to know that you come first. And that when you come first, that's where the solutions are. And you just keep, every time you feel like your focus is gone to something else outside of you as your savior, you just bring it back and bring it back. Model, like I said before, don't be a martyr, be a model. Be a model of the integrity that you wish to be, the love that you wish to be. And the most loving thing that you can do is love yourself and not abandon yourself. Sit with whatever comes up and know that when you come into these relationships and situations. And when you realize what's really going on and you open up to those spaces, that it's a huge gift. It's a huge, huge, huge gift. It's your opportunity to step through that doorway and embrace your power and just smile and love life and allow yourself to be supported by your soul. Until next time.